Before you speak to anyone else in the morning, you speak to yourself. That quiet inner voice sets the direction for your whole day. Some mornings, that voice rushes you. Some mornings, it worries you. Some mornings, it reminds you of fear before your feet even touch the ground. Buddhism teaches a powerful truth. The mind becomes the words it hears again and again. You do not need long prayers. You do not need complicated rituals. You only need 5 simple lines, spoken gently to yourself every morning. These 5 lines do not change life overnight, but they change how you meet life, and that changes everything. Why Buddhism focuses on morning words. In Buddhism, morning practice has been a central tradition for centuries, with monks beginning each day with mindful recitation to set the direction of awareness. The mind in the early morning is like soft clay. It is not yet hardened with stress, news, arguments, or noise. What you place in the mind at this time leaves a deep impression. The Buddha taught, "Whatever one frequently thinks and ponders upon, that will become the inclination of the mind." This fundamental teaching reveals that an untrained mind ultimately leads to suffering. The Buddha identified suffering, dukkha, not just as obvious pain, but as a spectrum ranging from subtle unease to severe anguish. Suffering does not begin with events. It begins with untrained thoughts. If the first thoughts of the day are rushed, the body follows. If the first thoughts of the day are calm, the body relaxes. This is why monastics begin their day with chanting and recitation, not to impress anyone or escape life, but to set the direction of awareness and remind themselves of core principles for Buddhist practice. Speaking kind and truthful lines to yourself every morning is not positive thinking. It is mental discipline with compassion. When repeated daily, these lines slowly reshape how you think, react, and choose. Morning practice works because the mind is most receptive then. Before the world floods in with demands and distractions, you have a precious window to plant seeds of awareness, peace, and intention. The practice is simple. 5 lines. 5 minutes. Every morning. But the simplicity contains profound power. A Buddhist story about the talking mind. Long ago, a student asked a Buddhist teacher, "Master, why does my mind disturb me every day?" The teacher replied, "Because you let it speak without guidance." The student looked confused. The teacher continued, "If you allow a child to shout all day, the house becomes chaotic. But if you guide the child gently, the house becomes peaceful." The student asked, "How do I guide my mind?" The teacher smiled and said, "Speak to it before it speaks to you." That day, the student learned that silence alone is not enough. The mind needs direction, not suppression. Morning words give that direction. In the Vipassana Sutta, the Buddha outlined a discipline for the conscious management of thinking, teaching that while thoughts may arise of their own accord, we need not be at their mercy. We can cultivate the conditions that allow wholesome thoughts to flourish while skillfully managing unwholesome ones. This is not about forcing positivity or denying reality. It is about tending the garden of your mind with wisdom. The first 2 lines, awareness and acceptance. Every transformation begins with awareness. Line 1, today, I choose awareness. This line reminds you that you cannot control everything, but you can notice everything. Awareness means seeing thoughts before they control you, feeling emotions without drowning in them, pausing before reacting, recognizing patterns as they unfold. When you speak this line, you place yourself in the observer's seat. The Buddha taught that the mind is naturally luminous and radiant, but becomes obscured by visiting defilements. When we are not mindful, we become imprisoned by afflictive emotions and identified with them. Awareness is the key that unlocks this prison. We can influence the conditioned mind that gives rise to particular thoughts by preparing fertile mental soil that increases the likelihood of wholesome ideas. The second line softens the heart. Line 2. I accept this moment as it is. Acceptance does not mean giving up. It means stopping the fight with reality. Most suffering comes from the fact that life is constantly changing. We find happiness, and almost immediately it disappears, creating a constant bombardment of change that undermines every state of satisfaction. Buddhism teaches that resistance doubles suffering. Acceptance reduces it immediately. The mind says, "This should not be happening." But reality simply is what it is. When you accept this truth, tension dissolves. These two lines work together. Awareness helps you see. Acceptance helps you rest. Together, they create a foundation of peace that can hold whatever the day brings. You become less reactive, more responsive, less controlled by circumstances, more grounded in your own center. The third line, letting go of control. The Buddha saw that the impulse to crave, desire, or grasp something one doesn't have is the principal cause of suffering. Since attempting to hold on to impermanent reality is as doomed to frustration as trying to stake out a piece of a river. People try to control outcomes they cannot predict, opinions they cannot change, other people they cannot mold, the future they cannot see. This creates constant tension, a tightness in the chest, a churning in the mind, an exhaustion that never lifts. Line 3. I let go of what I cannot control. This line releases false responsibility. You are responsible for your actions, not the entire world. You are responsible for your effort, not every result. You are responsible for your intentions, not others' reactions. When you say this line slowly, something shifts. The shoulders soften, the breath deepens, the mind stops racing ahead, trying to manage 10 things at once. Letting go does not make you careless. It makes you focused on what truly matters. This line creates inner freedom, the freedom to act without attachment to outcome, to care without controlling, to engage fully while holding life lightly. The Buddhist teaching on acceptance does not mean passivity, but freedom from ego-centered desire and the perpetual sense of unsatisfactoriness. The fourth line, kindness toward yourself. Many people speak to themselves harshly. They criticize their body, their past, and their progress. They use words they would never speak to a friend. They judge themselves for every mistake. They demand perfection while offering themselves no grace. The Buddha taught that developing freedom requires practicing habits of ethical conduct, thought, and meditation, with actions shaped by compassion, understanding, and love rather than anger and self-centeredness. This begins with how you treat yourself. Line 4. I act with kindness, starting with myself. This line heals the inner voice. Self-kindness means resting when tired, not pushing through exhaustion, forgiving mistakes instead of dwelling in shame, speaking gently to yourself in moments of struggle, acknowledging your humanity, not demanding perfection, celebrating small progress, not only final achievements. When you treat yourself with kindness, your mind becomes safer. A safe mind thinks clearly. A safe mind makes better choices. A safe mind extends compassion naturally to others. This line does not remove discipline. It removes cruelty. And cruelty never creates lasting change. Cruelty creates resistance, shame, and eventually rebellion. Kindness creates space for genuine growth. In Zen Buddhism, the soft and flexible mind is considered essential, a mind that is tender, adaptable, and nurturing like a parent's love, genuine and wishing for the welfare of all beings. This soft, flexible approach to yourself opens the door to true transformation. The fifth line, trusting the path. Fear often comes from rushing ahead. The mind projects into the future. What if I fail? What if it doesn't work? What if I'm not ready? These questions create anxiety that steals peace from the present moment. The Buddha outlined the Noble Eightfold Path as a practical guide providing ethical guidelines, mental discipline, and wisdom to help individuals transform their lives. This path emphasizes steady, consistent practice, not dramatic leaps or forced transformation. The Buddha taught the middle way, steady steps, not extremes, not rushing forward in manic energy, not collapsing backward in defeat, just one mindful step at a time. Line 5, I trust the path, one step at a time. This line ends the morning ritual with patience. You do not need to solve your whole life today. You only need to take the next right step. You do not need to see the entire staircase. You only need to take the first step. Trust grows when you stop forcing outcomes. Trust deepens when you honor the natural unfolding of things. This line brings calm confidence, not blind belief. It reminds you that transformation is a process, not a destination. It reassures you that every journey of 1,000 miles truly does begin with a single step, and that single step is enough for this moment. How these 5 lines transform your life over time. These 5 lines work because they train the mind daily. They do not promise instant success. They promise clarity. They do not guarantee an easy life. They guarantee a steadier response to life's challenges. The Buddha taught that attachment to what we cannot control causes suffering, and understanding gained through meditation can dissolve wrong perceptions and liberate us. Over weeks and months of consistent practice, you may notice mental shifts, less overthinking and mental loops, fewer catastrophic predictions about the future, more space between stimulus and response, greater ability to observe thoughts without being swept away. Emotional changes, softer reactions to triggers, better emotional balance throughout the day, reduced anxiety about things outside your control, more self-compassion during difficult moments. Behavioral patterns, stronger self-respect and boundaries, more aligned actions with your values, better decision-making from a calm center, increased resilience when facing setbacks. Life may still challenge you. Difficulties will not disappear, but you meet challenges with steadiness instead of panic. You meet uncertainty with trust instead of terror. You meet yourself with kindness instead of criticism. An untrained mind leads to suffering, but training the mind through what we frequently think and ponder shapes the very inclination of consciousness. Buddhism teaches that real change happens quietly. Like water shaping stone, repetition reshapes the mind. The transformation is not dramatic or sudden. It is gentle, cumulative, and profound. 5 lines, 5 minutes, every morning. This small practice creates a big shift, not because the words are magic, but because consistency shapes consciousness. Not because you become a different person, but because you remember who you truly are beneath the noise. Final reflection. Begin before the world begins. Before the phone rings. Before news arrives, before problems appear, before demands flood in, you speak to yourself. Those words matter. Those moments matter. That intention matters. These 5 lines do not change who you are. They reveal who you already are beneath fear and noise. They connect you to the awareness that has always been present. They remind you of the peace that exists within, regardless of external circumstances. The nature of mind is awareness and openness, a space where we can fully experience emotions without being imprisoned by them, responding from wisdom and compassion rather than contraction. Morning is your daily reset, your fresh start, your opportunity to plant seeds of intention before the world makes its demands. Tomorrow morning, begin again. Speak these 5 lines, not as empty words, but as genuine guidance for your mind. Not as forced positivity, but as compassionate discipline. And watch, over time, as small daily practice creates profound inner transformation. The Buddhist teachings have survived for over 2,500 years not because they promise quick fixes, but because they offer timeless wisdom for working with the human mind. These 5 morning lines carry that wisdom into your daily life. Begin tomorrow. Begin gently. Begin with trust in the path. Thank you for being here with BodhiRipple. If these 5 morning lines spoke to you, please like this video, share your thoughts in the comments, and subscribe to BodhiRipple for more Buddhist wisdom you can use in daily life. Watch our other videos to learn how calm awareness, simple habits, and inner kindness can transform your life, one mindful moment at a time. Until next time, remember, change your morning words, and you change your life.